Welcome back to today's episode of the podcast. And this one's going to be a massive one. And the reason why is I want to help you transform your business in the next 30 days by being more authoritative and a leader in your business. One of the biggest switches that I've ever seen, and it's happened time and time again with business owners, is when they switch from the identity of who they've been showing up as to the new identity with a purpose and a vision. And the biggest shift that happens is they suddenly realize that they were playing a small game and they were letting past beliefs and perspectives hold them back. So I'm not going to hold back on this episode today. This is going to be quick, it's going to be fire, and it's also going to help you rapidly transform your business in the next 30 days. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how do you shift from that place where you're stuck and being yourself into the vision of what you can create. And this is the hardest bit for most people because you're so stuck in the past with all of your limiting beliefs that you can't see how this can be any different. I've always been this way. I've always been this person. So the biggest shift you have to make is you've always been that person because you've told yourself you are. You've told yourself you are that person. I've seen it so many times in the fitness industry where there's a coach who's not in the best of shapes. They've been in okay shape and they're performing much less than what they're capable of. And yet in 30 days, I say, go and do a photo shoot in 30 days, do a challenge in 30 days, do something in the next 90 days, whatever it is. And this is how my photography business works so well, is we documented the process to achieving certain points. And what you would see then is the person unfold and their nature unfold. And what would then happen over weeks, months, and then in a year, their business would transform. And it wasn't because their content got better. Their content got better because they were better. Because instead of having that same vision as they had before, what they started thinking of is like, well, if I stop telling myself this, and I actually visualize what I can create, and am I showing up as the person that people would want to follow? Quite often, you're not. Now, this can apply to any business, right? I'm going to give you an example of this. One of the guys that I work with is a heating engineer. And every time I put a microphone in front of him and a camera, he freezes up, right? And so one of the tricks that I said to him is, I want you to stop thinking like you have to be the authority. You have to be this perfect leader. And I want you to just communicate what you know. So instead of him thinking I need to go from like A, where I'm here, to like B up here, or probably like if you're watching this, A down here and then B up here, what we started getting him to do was to go, right, well, if we're going to go from A to B, what we need is a step in between that. So I just want you to communicate and get used to talking on camera. Okay, now let's do it again tomorrow, but I want you to just add a little bit more volume to it. Or I want you to add a little bit more tone to it. So when you're talking, you're not just saying, and in his example, if you've got a radiator in your house and you're fed up of like feeling like you're clogged up, it's probably because there's dust sitting behind the radiator. And when there's dust sitting behind the radiator, of course, as soon as you hoover or do anything, it's going to move all the air around and you're constantly going to feel that dust coming in. So the next time we got him to then say like, are you fed up of having dust in your house and yet you're not sure where it's coming from? It's probably your radiators. And here's why. You clean the rest of the house, but how often do you clean behind the radiators? This is why we install underfloor heating in a lot of homes, because it removes the ugly radiators off the wall, but it also stops all that dust collecting, which especially for older people is a massive benefit. You see the difference? There's a bit of volume in there. There's a bit of like, I believe in this, right? And now all he's trying to do is constantly repeat that until he gets to a point where he can do it in a sales way, where he can do it from a leadership standpoint, going, did you know the one reason why your house is always full of dust? It's because of your radiators. Now you can see the difference in going between those two things. It's massive. Because for him, he can now talk from that place of authority. He can talk from that place of, I don't have to be someone to start with, but I can become someone. And I'm going on a journey to that. And everyone loves a journey, right? So the first thing is, stop thinking that you can't do something and start thinking, how would that person show up? What would they do every day? How would they turn up, right? The next protocol is like, you need some sort of goal or a deadline, right? There is 0 point in you going, oh, I'm just going to work on this and see what happens. There's no force behind it, no scarcity. There's no like need to transform. So if you're going to take yourself from A to B, what you need to be thinking is like, I need a deadline, I need a goal, I need something to achieve, right? Fitness coach is perfect. Just like, go for a body transformation, do a high rocks, whatever it is, like compete in something, do something where you're challenging yourself, right? And you can document that. It's one of the easiest ways to make content. Over the next 30 days, I'm going to document myself losing 5 to 10 kilos, or 10 kilos in 30 days is quite extreme. I'm going to lose 5 kilos in the next 30 days and show you how you can do it too, right? And then you show up every day and you just document the process. And instead of you having to sell, you can just talk. Today, I had a really tough day. I had a lot sitting on my desk. I couldn't get my steps in, or I didn't think I was going to get my steps in. And I'm going to be honest with you, I was so tired because I had a poor night's sleep that training this morning was awful. However, how did I turn this around? Well, I decided towards the end of the day, I was going to get my steps done because I needed to take that off for me. It wasn't a case of like, oh, I can do it tomorrow. It was, I needed to do this today. Otherwise, I'm not going to be good enough. I'm not going to get and achieve my goals. So it forces you to get out of your comfort zone, but it shows people how you turned your day around. Now, they might be sitting at home going, oh, I really need to go and get my steps done, but it's raining outside. And then they see you out with your headphones on going, it might be raining, but my goals are bigger than the rain, right? And it might just be that thing that inspires them to go and make change. And if you're inspiring people to change, what they're going to want to do, need your help to obviously get there because you've got the rest of the knowledge, right? So set yourself a goal and a deadline. Have something that you can go out and achieve and make that happen, right? It's the biggest thing that changes for most people, because then you can prove that you're good enough. Not only do you prove it to yourself, but you can also document the process. Now, what's to say there's 10, 20 people out there that are looking to work with someone and they just haven't heard that right thing yet. They haven't seen the proof. They're waiting for you to show up. It's a perfect opportunity for that, right? Now, okay, you're going to say, Ben, if I'm not into the fitness industry, like what can I do here, right? Now, that might be a challenge, right? You might say, you might be looking for certain types of jobs that you can get in. Let's go back to the heating engineer, right? Now, he wants to work on a big like house transformation. Like we want to do like a whole house install, right? So he could go onto his social media and go, in the next 30 days, I want to help one of our clients completely renew the heating in their house and see if we can lower their heating bills by like 10%, 20%, something like that, like a bit of a challenge. That's just off the top of my head, right? And then he posts content about that every day. Over the next 30 days, I want to find one person that I can help radically improve the heating in their home and save them money, right? And he goes about talking about how he would do it and what ways you can do things and little tricks and little tips. And then if he finds that client and they pay him the thousands that it would cost to do that, not only has he made the business work, but he's also shown how it's possible. And then he's got the proof at the end of it, right? So it's about being creative with these things. It's about thinking outside of the box. And this is definitely where my ADHD comes in, because I do think outside the box. I don't just keep writing the same thing over and over again. I want to stand out. I want to be different, right? My way has always been to think outside the box. And that's why it's typically worked for people, because they don't do the same thing as everything else, right? And that kind of leads on to step number 3, right? Is you're expecting to get the same results as everyone else. However, if you're not doing the same thing as everyone else, or you're not trying to think differently, how are you ever going to achieve that? And I know that that might sound a little bit confusing, right? But if you're trying to just do the same approach as everyone else, right? Sure, there is a certain pattern that you need to follow with the right message, the right offer, and everything to be super clear to be able to achieve that. So there are certain things in business that you pretty much need to have there. Clear offer, good marketing, talk to the right ideal client, know where they're at so that then you can go and talk to them, right? But this is where you need to think like, what can I do differently to stand out? Marketing and branding is all about making yourself different and unique compared to the competitors. It's about saying why your offer and everything works. So if you're not trying to think outside the box, you're just trying to do the same as everyone else with the same logo design off of Canva, and you've got the same here's me, I've just gone in and copied all their content. Well, you're not feeling different. You're not showing up as a leader. You're not showing up as someone that, I want to be close to. If I'm looking at your content and going, this is just the same as everyone else, why would I sign up to you? Why wouldn't I sign up to the person that's the leader, that's already doing this and got the proof? If you're going to do it differently, this is where you need something that actually stands out. You need a very clear, definitive thing that makes you different. Typically, that is to do with your story, but that's also how you can twist things, right? So I'm going to use this as an example, right? I've got a sales call with a guy tonight, right? And he actually goes to my local gym. And he said to me, Ben, I'm a bricklayer. I want to get into fitness. It's always been my passion, right? And now he told me that he went from being very skinny to then putting on muscle and building a lot more size, right? So instantly I said, from building homes to building bodies, right? And it makes him unique, right? And he's got his own story. And then he can use bricks as the building blocks to then talk about building muscles, right? It completely makes sense. That's going to make him unique. Whereas if you just go down the same route of this is how you build biceps, sure, people need to know that information, how can you do it differently? How can you make your content stand out? So I would be loading those bricks up and saying, listen, if you're a skinny guy, what you start off with is frame. But what you really want to do is bulk that out by adding more size to it. It's like building more dimensions or adding more rooms to a house. It's going to build that size. It's going to build that shape. And when you look at the end, you go, you've taken a skinny frame and you built something big with it. It's exactly the same concept, but it's different compared to everybody else on the internet, on the market, because who else is doing the same thing? And if they are, there's a very unique message. You just got to craft yours slightly differently, right? From building homes to building bodies, there's got to be something in that you can use. And this is where you need to think outside the box, right? You need to have that in the next 30 days. What can I do differently, right? A little hack here, if you're struggling with it, put somewhat of your context of your story, put some of your backdrop in there that you can relate to, right? I know, let's say hypothetically you were a dancer, right? And you're a maths coach, right? I'm just thinking of one of my clients off the top of my head who does ball and dancing, right? Now, you could then come up with a slogan saying, being able to dance your way to better results, right? Or being able to create a routine that performs to the highest level, right? Or like something like a routine that will give you a standing ovation, right? So something like that you could have in your message. From my background of being able to use dance as a way to express myself, but maths is my skill. What I think of is, how can I get this to all flow together to get your child to that end result? It's like the best performance of their life, where they can get every single routine and movement right, which is their different areas of maths, to get that end result where everyone stands up and claps for them when they get their honours degree or whatever it is, right? So you're trying to think outside the box. You're using your story, but what that allows people to do is see that there's a unique mechanism to it. There's something that's different, right? If you're just going to go, oh, here's our fat loss formula, everyone's got that. Right, everyone's got some sort of process to it. The online maths coach. There's hundreds of online maths coach. So how can we make hers different? Hers was called Sum, right? We then crafted a marketing message around that, right? So this is where you come up with something different, and that's where you get excited. That's where you start showing up as a leader. If you said to me now, right, Ben, over the next 30 days, I want you to transform your body, transform your business, and body, business, and I don't know, let's say impact my babies, right? My kids, right? So how could I then do that, right? Well, I'm going to show you growth in my business. I'm going to show you growth in my body where I'm cutting or adding more muscle or whatever it is. And then how I'm spending quality time with my kids. And how do I put that together into a marketing message? I could say I can help, I could frame this as I help broken dads turn into industry leading fathers, right? Just in that framework alone, you've created so much, right? And now I'm excited. I'm like, how can I show that I've gone from being someone who didn't have the masculine side of me to now being a high performer who demands respect and commands that desire to be around people, right? It's taking that, I struggled with my business because I wasn't clear in it, which wasn't then making me feel authoritative, to now I've got a clear message where I help people to achieve a certain goal. And now I know the content I want to create. So if you are stuck and you're needing the next 30 days to really work for you, this is where I would take that huge shift. I think, how can I think outside the box? How can I challenge myself to do something differently? And how can I shift my identity? And those are the big three things that are going to allow you to then take on that challenge. And you'll notice that the words you use are better. The tone you use is better. You can add more emphasis into your content because you believe in it more, right? I've just realized I've just ranted on here, but imagine you waking up tomorrow, and I'll slow this right down, right? Imagine waking up tomorrow, clarity in your business, a new deep purpose inside of yourself that you can achieve the next level of your progress, and the goal that you've always been wanting to achieve is literally days away. How differently are you going to show up? How much more energy are you going to have? And how good is it going to feel to achieve all of that, knowing that you've got the potential to achieve it? Do you think you're going to show up with amateur feeling? Are you going to show up with that lackluster tone and monotone voice? Are you not going to put all your energy in and excitement in and be able to showcase the journey? Can you use some of the lows to say, hey, I had these low moments, but look what happened in the end? When the high moments happen, you can say those were all worth it. And if you're stuck right now, those low moments go quickly. You can document that. You can showcase that. In the next 30 days, your business will look dramatically different. You will feel better. You will be alive with just like that feeling of like, wow, I'm in control, I'm driving this ship and I can do this, right? And that often then leads on to like, now you've got clarity in this and what you help people do. Now you just need to find more people that you want to help do the same thing with. And it's just a repeat cycle. So just don't sit around waiting for the next 30 days to just go past and thinking something would be different. Shift your identity from it's never been me to like, why it can't it be me? What can I do? Set a goal, set a deadline so you've got something to aim towards, like a target, a 30-day challenge, a 60-day challenge, like a high rocks of body transformation, a certain like income in your business. And you obviously you won't promote that on social media, but like maybe say like, I want to like do everything I can to be able to do this. And you showcase the journey to doing that, right? And then you have to shift that level up. Like you have to then take that risk on and put all of this together and go, how can I do it differently compared to everyone else? And sometimes like even using ChatGPT and stuff, like coming up with unique ways to build that into something that you can create a different like marketing strand from. That's what gives you the separation. That's what gives you the tools to go and be different. So I really like put a whole lot of effort into this because like I feel like that myself. I feel like I've turned a massive corner with some personal stuff that I was dealing with. And it's allowing me to step into that identity of the successful leader that I've always wanted to feel like, right? I've gone through multiple things with this and I'm not really hidden away from it. And part of the reason why I'm sharing it with you is like, even successful people go through spells where like things don't go quite right or like the markets change or things happen. But it's in those moments that allow you to learn lessons. And if you don't let it beat you, you can turn around and use that for fuel. You can turn those losses into success. You can turn negatives into something that becomes incredibly powerful for you. And the reality is when your days end, are you going to look back and go, wow, look what I did when I had the opportunity to do it for myself, instead of hoping anyone else was going to bring that out of you and do something for you? You've got the opportunity to change these things, and it's about taking control and going, I'm steering the ship because it's important for me. And when you do that, everyone else around you, their lives get better, you feel happier, you impact more people's lives, your business grows, and you start feeling like a leader. So that is me like dropping it all on the fucking line today. I hope that's fired you up. I hope that's helped you like see that you can do something different. And genuinely, like, if you do struggle with this, obviously this is what I built my business around. I wasn't trying to do a hard plug with this, but like, listen, if you're ready to get out your own way and you need someone to support you with it, that's what I'm here for. We do personal development, we do marketing, and we grow businesses by making better content. So listen, I hope you found that useful today. Please hit the subscribe button. If you did find this useful, share it with a friend who might be stuck or needs to hear something like this. And I look forward to sharing you more information and more life valuable information. I've used too many words now, in the future.